agree to this simple solution?
It's a great pleasure to follow the noble Lord Randall of Uxbridge, and I'm sure the entire House will join me in saying we're really delighted to have him back with us. I'd also like to commend the noble lady Baroness Hayman of Ulloch for a huge amount of work that's gone into this. There's so much that is having to be filled in from the opposition and indeed the backbenchers on the other side, because this is such a skeleton bill. I'm afraid we have not only a shortage of birds, mammals and insects, we're kind of running into a shortage of Henry VIII metaphors. We've got Henry VIII on steroids with rockets strapped to his boots. I'm afraid I've run out of an extra addition to that one, because that is what very much, as the law is written, as the bill is written before us now, would put into law, is an extreme right to ministers to do whatever they would essentially like to do. And I think it's really interesting to be having this debate in the context of the just completed report stage of the retained EU law bill, because then your Lordship's House expressed very clearly a desire to see non-regression in environmental regulations. But to deliver that, we actually need to see amendments like these put into this bill to make sure we actually deliver the will that the House has already expressed. This group also made me think of debate in the economic crime bill, where we were most recently discussing the whole issue of free ports. And there's a great deal of fear and concern in the community that basically these are places of open slather where businesses will be allowed to do whatever they like, destroy whatever they like. All the rules are taken away. And currently, as this bill is written, that's what the environmental outcome reports are effectively doing, taking away EU-derived protections and leaving nothing written down in their place. Now, I think if any noble lords haven't seen it, I really would point people towards, and I'm not going to run through it in detail, but the Wildlife and Countryside Link has produced an excellent report going line by line through all of these, quite a number of these amendments, and explaining the importance of them. I just want to pick out a couple of points. 372, climate. As the noble lady Baroness Hayman said, we are in a climate emergency, and how can it be that that's missing from this crucial bill? But also, of course, we are supposed to be talking about the Levelling Up Bill. This group of changing what happens with environmental protections all around the country does seem a long way from levelling up, but that's where we are. But if we think about the protection of nature element of this, lack of nature, the impacts on public health, on people's well-being, on communities, this is of particular interest to communities generally seen to be in need of levelling up support. I particularly want to pick up one element of Clause 141, the fact that it actually takes away, destroys the mitigation hierarchy. The mitigation of environmental hierarchy is avoid, so don't trash things in the first place. And we are, of course, one of the most nature-deprived corners of this battered planet, and we should be absolutely avoiding environmental damage at scale that at the moment we're doing the opposite. I just think of how often my social media feed, my email queue, is full of desperate people saying, how can we be cutting down this ancient tree to build one house? Or how can we be destroying this hedge when with a bit of initiative and creativity you could leave the hedge and build some houses as well? So much we're not doing, and basically the way this bill's written now is giving the opportunity to allow open slather to that. Just one other point to note of Amendment 388, which brings in a super or affirmative procedure for potential regulations. That is an inadequate backstop. It's a backstop, but it's not nearly good enough. What we need to do is write the essential protections on the face of this bill, and that would mean this bill committee is following the desire that the House expressed in report in the retained EU law bill.
My Lord.